Quay, yeah, before you not get your knickers in a knocker here, is things I got to say and found out that you may want to perchance take a listen. 8:55 in the morning, June 20th, 2025. It's Friday. They're doing talking more and more about Stephen Miller, but I don't think anybody did a deep dive in this guy's history. So, took a smattering at Wikipedia just to take a look to see what this guy is going through. And trust me, he already had to start in the parents. Parents weren't exactly racial, but well to do because of early family inheritance. So, he was born out here in California, unfortunately. Southern Cal, Santa Monica. Upper areas were, back in 85, they still had upper areas. And then things fell apart in his family, probably destitution or something like that, where they had to move out. And he moved from a charter school, sound like, because in the wording, what they have in the Wikipedia for this guy, forced to go to public school. Gee, how do you get forced to go into a public education? But during that time, he was studying conservatism. Hold on to your socks. Okay. Uh, he attributed his conservatism to Guns, Crime, and Freedom by Wayne LaPierre. Wayne LaPierre, if anybody was into the conservatism of gun rights, this is the asshole who was in charge of the NRA, or probably still is. Well, between 91 and 2024. This guy was an absolute gun right numbnuts. And he was just as scary. Second Amendment had to be above everything else, including freedom of speech. The way this guy was doing his speech writing. That's how I was getting impressions of this gentleman. But this gets even worse. Um, this is regarding opposition of gun control. Miller cited Rush Limbaugh's book, The Way Things Ought to Be. Limbaugh had been out there in the conservative field for a good long period. I haven't done a deep dive in this guy, but I already knew he was a nut job anyway with his conspiracy theories. I mean, we've heard some bellyaches, but if you listen to him and also, what was it, Tom Likas? Oh man, I couldn't stand listening to these guys, but I did listen to Tom Likas a lot. But I didn't contribute to him. But all I know is he was a contributor to Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was hooked in with the conservative, and if you wanted to get a political office, you had to go through Rush. Everyone in the conservative party fell in line with Rush Limbaugh's thinking and logic here. It gets even worse when everyone else starts doing the spiderweb routine here. Um, President Theodore Roosevelt did say this: there can be no 50-50 Americanism. And there's a reason for this one. I kept saying in my videos, published and unpublished when I give them to you, about context and perspective. The other thing I should have said is about time. That's always linked in with all three of them. Early 1900s, they were still going through immigration situations. People still wanted to be associated with their own country, but they wanted to be part of the American dream. Well, it was still developing during that time. But some people actually had an absolute. Now, Reverend Ed, question. How many times have you come across people with an absolute mindset who cannot be swayed because they had been taught other things? Miller's the way. Miller's one of those examples. Because everybody else has, you either believe in this or you're out. kind of situation. So Theodore Roosevelt, even though he was one time, he did quote this American, there can be no American 50-50 situation. He was so absolutely dead set about this one. It's not even funny. Not even funny on this one. I did a Snopes check. Snopes.com. Uh, Teddy Roosevelt regarding it. And I wanted to find out what was going on. I just put in the there can be no 50-50 Americanism. Click copy paste. Gotta love that kid. Gotta love that. I love that. And that's where I found it from Snopes. I had to do a fact check on this guy. When I have two or three people, or actually several of them, that are actually contributing to this, I know it's accurate. I know it's accurate. So during that time, Teddy Roosevelt did have something against immigration. You had to be coming into the country, knowing English, and knowing you're going to be Americanized, which means you had to be American thinking, whatever the hell that was. I never did understand what the American thinking was back then because I hadn't seen anything written about it, at least not that much in detail. But if you're going to be for the country, you got to be for the country. You got to be absolutely loyal. Does that thing ring a bell in your head? Absolute loyalty? And we're talking about Stephen Miller. We're not talking about the orange gas bag. There's more. Larry Elder. He's one of them assholes out here that we still have. He still likes to pop his mouth every so often. And he still has the Larry Elder show on talk radio or Cyrus X or whatever the hell he's got it going. I never did like this guy. He's already a nut job anyway. I'm sorry, I'm liberal. I'm a libtard. I'm democratic. And I don't deal with conservative nut jobs, but I think I should. Was an attorney, wrote books, and he's just, I don't know. I'm not going to get into him. I'm not going to get into him much. But here's the other one that's really, really needed on this one. You ever heard of an author, a Russian author, name of Aaron Rand? Yeah, let me get the spelling for you in a couple of seconds here. I was just getting a PDF on the Federalist Papers. It's nice to get the Federalist Papers under my belt. That I understand. That's the political basis of our country. All right, Aaron Rand. And this one had to do a deep dive on this one because she had this political philosophical system called objectivism. And she based it in one of her books called Atlas Shrugged. Now, she was born in 1905 and passed away in 82. Miller was born in 85, so this was kind of fresh. But this is basically the building blocks for the right-wing nut jobs. Once I get all these PDFs, I'm going to slam it into one. I'm going to slam it into one particular conversation we're having in a video so you can read this stuff. Or have somebody else read it and then go nuts. Maybe they should go running up and down the pews and scream their heads up and say, God almighty, what the hell did I have to listen to this guy in the first place? He's lost his mind. But as Aaron Rand, or what she was known as, oh, you gotta love this name here, Alice O'Connor, born Alicia Zonovienia Rosenbaum. And shut up. Oh, my Fox went nuts. My Amazon Fire thing went nuts. I didn't ask Alexis for that. But it's complicated. She describes the concept of a man as a heroic being with his own happiness as the moral purpose of his life, with productive achievement as his noblest activity, and reason as his only absolute. You're talking about communist crap here, or almost socialism, if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, she chose to pen him Ayn Rand, or Ayn. I'm sorry, Ayn Rand. Ayn. Not Alice O'Connor. That's easy enough for my tongue. But she put it into her best work, which was Atlas Shrugged, back in the 50s. I don't know if it's still out there or not. I'm not quite sure if I want to get the damn book or not to look at it. Oh, it's almost just as bad as watching or listening to 1984 and seeing how the country is going hell in a handbasket. Oh, wait a second. We are doing that right now in 2025. But anyway, he was so screwed up with his conservative learning things. It was just nuts. But as he grew further into his conservatism and forced to do things in the public school system, he riled, according to what was being written up, he riled his classmates multiple times with statements and stunts. Who got beaten up, I wonder. Then earlier on, he appeared on conservative talk radio, which means Larry Elder gave him an audience. So he was writing in a school newspaper before he graduated, so many damn times. As a young kid, expressing his conservatism to the world. And he did a complaint about the school's multiculturalism and its response to the September 11th attacks. There's a pattern here, Reverend Ed. There's a pattern here of where his mentality is. It's public knowledge. It's on Wikipedia. Anybody can access this information. That's why I had to get the PDF on it, just in case the damn thing gets changed. And some of the links, well, I don't know if they're legitimate or not, but they probably are. It gets worse. He gets into Duke University. Now, there's somewhat multiculturalism over there, but they're not promoting white only. It's not that generation anyway. And he was writing conservative columns for the school paper. He gained national attention for his defense on the students who were wrongly accused of rape in a Duke lacrosse rape hoax. And that came out last year while the lady who did the accusation for being raped, she's serving time. For violent offenses happened to her back in 2011 and got sentenced for it. So she decided she had enough. She was going to spill out her guts. But prior to that, Duke was getting accused of allowing a rape to happen. White students were getting beaten up by one black girl. The same one's in prison. But that's why they called her articles the Duke lacrosse rape hoax. So finally, when she came out with it, it really exonerated the students because they didn't do anything. There was no evidence whatsoever, no testimony, nothing, except for her against the white students. And in that melee there, Reverend Ed, his racism was building up. He had to defend the white race. It's an observational aspect in my own perspective. What I'm trying to gain into it. But I'm doing my own personal opinions as I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm trying to get past it to be objective about it. And dealing with this guy's mental case, I'm understanding more and more why he's a nut job against immigrants or anybody who's not white. I had to understand what was driving this bastard. Now, while he was attending Duke, according to the article I'm still reading about Wikipedia here, he organized the Islamo-Fascism Awareness Week. It's combination of fascism and Islamism, which advocate authoritative and violent extremism to establish an Islamic State, in addition to promoting offensive jihad. And that's just a little bit of the definition of it. They got longer word salad. And at this point, he also goes after Maya Angelou. Oh, she gets very controversial. You gotta love her for that. Oh, I wish I'd known her back there in those days. And she was being accused by him of being racially paranoia, and she was racially paranoia? Racial paranoia. Wow. Of racial paranoia. Is there such a thing as racial paranoia? That she's got a thing against other races at this point, and she's only for blacks? Is that what his logic is? His white supremacist logic? And he describes the student organization on Duke, the Chicago Student Movement for Aslan, as a radical national Hispanic group that believes in racial superiority. Now keep this in mind. In one particular aspect, he's still following the racial aspects of everybody else who doesn't like immigrants or doesn't like anything else other than white. Why is Larry Elder into this situation? He's black. I don't know. I never could quite figure out his logic. But even examining Theodore Roosevelt, which everybody else puts on a pedestal, when he looks at immigration, you have to be absolute. It's not just... Let me go back into the quotes on this one for Snopes. I'm trying to build a point over here, and maybe I'm out of my mind at this point. Okay. What was quoted that they put in here? In the first place, we should insist that if the immigrant who comes here in good faith becomes an American and assimilates himself to us, he shall be treated on an exact equality with everyone else. For it is an outrage to discriminate against any such man because of creed, birthplace, or origin. But this is predicated upon the person's becoming in every facet, I'm emphasizing on that one there, an American, and nothing but an American. More emphasis on some of the wordplay here. There can be no divided allegiance. Any man who says he is an American, but something else also, isn't an American at all. It's either is or isn't. You seeing any kind of similarities here? We have room but for one flag, the American flag. We have room but for one language here, and that is the English language. And we have room but for one sole loyalty, and that is the loyalty to the American people. I thought I knew this asshole, but now I don't know anymore. And I'm going to put this stuff on another video, but I wanted to get you a little bit of a scope of what we're dealing with concerning about Miller, who's running the whole damn... It's not Borderland, it's not ICE, it's Department of Homeland Security. And who's running it? Miller. Miller's running the damn shit. He is so anti. It's not even funny. He is a pure white racist at this point over here. The family history doesn't show, or actually it wasn't put in here, that they were, discriminated. Part of his ancestry is linked into a store chain run by Jews. German Jews immigrated, made their fortune in America in the early 1900s. Early 1900s. Teddy Roosevelt already had his stint. Couldn't get back into the office. Couldn't extend it for a third one if he tried. I mean, he did too. But this, as I keep looking and reading into this damn thing, he had become more and more heavily into racism than we ever thought. Because I'd been exposed to it, he's read a lot about it. He wasn't reading anything concerning about cultural diversity being a good thing. So it had to start from home. It had to start from home. Unless he already had personal experiences about the damn thing. I just wanted to find out where the hell this guy's brain was coming from. I got an idea. I got an inkling. I got a little sliver of it. It's not the complete picture. But it's nauseating as hell, and I already ate breakfast. We'll talk. I pray to God we will. One of you folks out there, anyway, send me a link, please. I want a link. 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 Link. I'm going to turn into a baby and cry like crazy, and I'm going to throw my sand all over the place. Whee!